All right, what you are standing in front of is Mars Hill, what we're technically on, the Areopagus, which you'll find in Acts 17 we just mentioned. Now down here, all the action happened. You'll see the Temple of Hephaestus at one end of the Athenian Agora. This was the marketplace where Socrates birthed philosophy. Well, it's made it more popular. If you look down here, you'll see the recreated Stoa but basically this is where Socrates did all his work, asking questions and living the thing that was in front of the temple at the Delphi, know thyself. So Socrates was all about testing all of your beliefs, your most cherished beliefs about how do we know things, what is virtue, what is the good life, what is knowledge, what is justice, what is holiness. And because of that, as we'll read in the Apology, this was why Socrates was killed in 399 BC. Because guess what? People in power do not like to be questioned. So, as we mentioned before, the Euthyphro takes place in front of the Temple of Hephaestus in a place called King Archon's Court, which is where religious crimes were tried. And then next to it, closer to us, is approximately where the place where Socrates would have had his trial, where the Apology took place. This same place, 400 years later, is also where Paul, the Apostle Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament, came in Acts 17. He found an inscription down there, "To an unknown God." And what I like about Paul, he was in a strange place with a strange religion, yet he found ways to meet people and hold hands with them. Oh yeah, you said to an unknown God. And also, Paul quotes a couple different philosophers like Aratus in that same passage where he says, "In him we live and move and have our being." So I do love that about Paul. He was able to quote Greek philosophers and begin his conversation with the Epicureans and Stoics, showing both sharp mind and a tender heart, and a desire to hold hands with people that he ultimately disagreed with. Alright, we'll next show you Socrates' prison, where CRITO takes place, the question of civil disobedience, or when is it okay to disobey the laws of the state. We've seen this throughout history. We have it also in the book of Acts, where Peter and John, they disobeyed the Sanhedrin. When they said, "Quit talking about Jesus," they said, "Forget it." We saw this with Dietrich Bonhoeffer in World War II. We saw it with the abolitionist movement in the United States of America, with the Underground Railroad that went through Cincinnati, Ohio. And in the 1950s and 60s, the Civil Rights Movement in the South, and so on. And we see it today with different branches of government, Supreme Court going against the Constitution, President going against the Constitution, and we have questions of, well, sanctuary cities and different cities and states who are going against federal laws. So you'll be the judge. We'll look at Socrates' arguments in his case. Should he escape Athens and leave his unjust sentence, or should he stay in prison, where she chose to do and eventually died by drinking hemlock? All right, two possible locations of Socrates' prison. One is down the hill, but the cooler one is over on the Philippopolis Hill, which we'll go to in a little bit. It's just cooler because you'll see it. All right, we'll see you in a minute.